everybody, welcome to our series. Welcome to the Live in the Renovation Room, where we started this in late 2024, and then we kept it going in 2025. Where we basically want to do our part to introduce the community, our community, to our great contractors and businesses that are in the group. So we've had a number of great guests on, and this brother here, Paul Gibson, comes well regarded in the Chicagoland area when it comes to appraisals. African American, obviously appraiser out here. So we're excited to interview this brother and learn more about him, and hopefully the 38,000 plus. And this will live on. This video will live on for people to watch and learn more about your business, brother, and everything you got going on. So welcome and thank you for joining us, man.
Hey, no problem, my brother. And I got absolutely no problem bumping my gums.
That's what I'm talking about.
Love that.
Yes, sir. So I guess we could start off by, man, maybe talking a little bit about yourself and what made you decide to get into the appraisal industry, back when you did.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've been doing appraisals for almost 30 years. And I've had my broker's license for probably 33, 34 years. So I was selling real estate back in my mid 20s. And how I got into it was this young brother came into the office and said, "Hey, man, I got a 2-flat down here on like 56 and Racine. Can you do property management for me?" I said, "Sure, I can go over and collect. I can collect some rents for you, no problem." And just so happens he was a loan officer, and this was in the mid 90s, right when money was getting easy. And I worked with him for a while, and he said, "Well, man, you seem to know what you're doing. Have you thought about being an appraiser?" I said, "Well, no, not really." He says, "Well, the appraisal firm that I do business with is looking to hire appraisers. If you go take the test, then they will hire you." And I talked to the receptionist, and she said, "Yeah, go do it." I took the classes. I passed the state test on Saturday, interviewed on Tuesday, and started to work on Wednesday. And that was, man, almost 30 years ago. And I got lucky because I had two great African American appraisers who mentored me when I first started. This was when you had appraisal offices, and there was no deregulation inside the industry. So everyone worked out of an office, and it is an apprenticeship. So I got an absolutely wonderful apprenticeship when I first got into the business. And then when I got my certification, I was able to go to a couple other appraisal houses and work for different owners and gain different knowledge. And then I was able to hang out my shingle, and it's been a party ever since.
Oh,
The rest is history, as they say.
Oh man. And then that needless to say just started 30 years of being in the street. Yeah, and talking to people. So yeah, it's been it's been a whole lot of fun, that's for sure.
Yeah, congratulations on that, man. That's a huge accomplishment. Got a ton of respect for you because I'm sure, I don't know personally, but I'm sure you faced challenges in being African American in the appraisal industry. What I think I know is that we aren't as represented in that field as we should be. That's my opinion. I'm not speaking for brother Paul, but you care to speak on maybe some of those challenges that you faced over the years in the industry?
Yeah, well, the industry has changed substantially to when I started. Right now, since deregulation, you really don't have that full mentorship program where you have someone who's been in the business for a while to teach you how to do it. It takes probably 2 to 3 years for you to actually know what you're doing. And so with me working basically where I live in the South Side, West Side, southern suburbs, it's easier for me because I take an interest in what I'm doing, because I drive by these homes all the time. And I run into my clients, on Stony Island at Jules, waiting in the deli line to get the $5 chicken and Friday like everybody
Yeah,
else.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, and so it has worked like that. I think what the difference is is that when you don't have an older appraiser who's been in there for a while to teach the new crop that's coming up, they don't understand that an appraiser is the eyes and the ears for the mortgage company. And with
Hmm.
that comes a responsibility. We have the power and the obligation to inform our client, which is the underwriter, which is the
Hmm.
mortgage underwriter. We report to them and nobody else. And so our job is to tell them what we see when we go and walk through a piece of property. And we don't have to be afraid to put on paper what we see. And we
Hmm.
can lead and inform the lenders of changes inside our community, and especially as it comes to valuations. And unless
Hmm.
you have been trained to have that mindset to where you can lead and not follow, yeah, it can change how you look at our community as a whole, especially for me, because my job as an appraiser is to go in people's homes.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
so let's say for sake of instance, let's say for sake of argument, you are getting a refi appraisal. I talk to you on the phone for 3 minutes. Hey, this is Paul Gibson from ABC Mortgage Company. I got the order to do the appraisal on your refi. Can I come by Saturday at 12 o'clock? You said, fine, 12 o'clock will be fine. I show up at your house. I walk in. I take pictures of every room in your house. I tell you to cut on all the lights. I go
Hmm.
outside. I see all your stuff you done cleaned up for me. House smells nice. You're nice to me. Ask me, you want some water, pop, juice, any of that. 'Cause everybody wants to be nice to the appraiser. And so, yeah, and so with that, especially doing work in my community, there's a responsibility. So I slow down because I've worked through the times when the mortgage company, when the mortgage industry reset itself, and when those adjustable rate mortgages were hitting, and I was
Hmm.
going in homes and people were refinancing those adjustable rate mortgages, and the concern, I would hear it on the phone. And then when I
Hmm.
show up, at the door, it was like, if I don't get this loan, Paul, I'm homeless.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
yeah.
it definitely gives you a different appreciation for the business at whole when you do that work inside your community.
Wow. Yeah, that had to be you just took me back to that period. Was that 2000, the early mid
Oh, absolutely.
2000s when the crash happened?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that had to be an incredibly incredible time for many. I mean, we had our own stories from that period as well. But I'm sure you had some challenges during that period and some tough times as far as dealing with clients and whatnot. Or did you?
No, because the thing about it is my client, if I'm doing a mortgage appraisal, is the lender. And so
Okay. Oh, gotcha.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
so
understood.
yeah, and so let's say for sake of argument, you're buying a house. You go in,
Hmm.
you talk to the loan officer. The loan officer says, "Hey, you'll sign this piece of paper. We're gonna do your loan app. You're gonna get some money from you for your loan application and for the appraisal." Give them the money for the
Hmm.
appraisal. Then they work it through the system. Appraisal management company gives me a buzz and say, "Hey, we got an order for you to go out and walk through a house, over here on, let's say, 79th in Indiana, and it's a sale. Here's a copy of the contract, and here's the name of the listing agent, and you go out and do your thing." And
Yeah.
so, even though you, as the person buying the house, and you pay for the appraisal, you are not the owner of that appraisal. It,
Mm.
it, it is the property of the lender because they,
Gotcha.
wow.
yeah, because they are using it for lending purposes. E-
Mm-hmm.
And so are you employed through the
No,
lending company,
no,
the
we no,
mortgage
we are
company?
no, we are all
Like
no, we're
outsourced?
all independent contractors. All
Okay.
independent
Okay.
contractors. And so how the industry has changed, especially after Dodd-Frank 2010, when the
Mm-hmm.
regulation hit, is before when I wanted to go in and solicit business, I would go in and talk to a loan officer. And after the
Okay.
financial crisis, the government said, hey, the appraisers and the loan officers, you all are comfy. You all are too close to each other. And
Oh,
so,
wow.
oh yeah. And so
Mm-hmm.
what we're going to do, we're going to institute a layer in between you two guys. And that layer is now called an appraisal management company, a AMC. So what
Oh, wow.
happens, yeah, oh yeah. So what happens is any loan you go in for, the loan officer calls an appraisal management company. The appraisal management company now goes out and their job is to hire a bunch of appraisers to fill their roster for the orders that come in from the lender. So now the loan officer and the mortgage side has absolutely no contact with the appraiser now at all. It's been like that for probably, man, 12 years or so.
Yeah. It's about the
Mm-hmm.
time we bought ours.
Yeah, I just learned. I just
I
learned
didn't
something.
know that.
I'm sitting here, and one thing I do is I try to learn something every day, and I've learned several things since we've been talking here.
Hmm.
Uh, it's interesting you said that your client is a lender. I never thought about it like that. Yeah, that puts it all in perspective. Because of course you get,
Yeah.
we've even had because we're investors, and we've
Hmm.
had times where we've had an appraisal come back that we didn't think was right, but we're not the appraiser, and
Yeah, yeah,
so,
there,
but that's
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
And there is a special way to handle that. And
Mm-hmm.
because I've been a realtor, forever, I don't sell a lot, but
Hmm.
because my main focus has been on the appraiser side, but I know a lot of realtors, and
Mm-hmm.
and I get a call, hey Paul, can you take a look at this appraisal? It came in low, and I know we pulled good comps, and I know that the contract was strong. And I say, yeah, sure, I'll take a look at. You got a copy of it, send it over to me, and then I will go through it. And if I find something, I had one of them a couple months ago. The appraiser used comps that were way, way too old and did not make a time adjustment. And I don't know I don't know why she used these. It was a VA buyer down in inside the Bronzeville area, and the sellers were an elderly couple. So I look at it and I say, you know what? Yeah, this value is too low. So what I was able to do was help out my realtor friend and pin a rebuttal to what I saw on the appraisal, and then have them forward it on to the underwriter. Now the difference
Oh,
is that since I speak appraisal speak, and I inform the underwriter what I saw as the glaring errors inside the report, the underwriter
mhm.
took a look at it and said, you know what, you're absolutely right. We're going to order a new appraisal. Great. Now
Okay.
that was the win. But the loss on it was the sellers were an older couple and they were moving out of state. And
Hmm.
they did not want to um, go in and have another appraisal come in. They just accepted that the lower value and took the money and ran. Not ran, but took the money and moved. So at the end of the
Yeah.
day, that sale went into the MLS showing that property sold for, I think it was like $15,000 to $20,000 under market value. So it kind of works both ways, but there is a method to the madness if you think that somehow your value is less. And the thing about it is, even if your realtor talks to the loan officer and says, hey, I don't know why this appraiser came in $20,000 less than the contract price, and then the loan officer is going to say, well, can you get some more comps? That ain't going to work. Anything you give to the loan officer, that ain't going to work. And you give them to the appraiser's not going to do anything for you because the appraiser don't report to you. He reports to the underwriter. So if you have a discrepancy, you have to get the loan officer to move that discrepancy onto the underwriter. The underwriter is the only person that can direct the appraiser to change anything on an appraisal, especially for lending purposes.
Yeah, that puts it all in perspective and understand. Because I'm sure you witness and see a lot of the debates when it comes to appraisals and around, even whether it be online or people having conversations in person. And that puts it in perspective to say, as an appraiser, your client is the lender. That makes it all make sense.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Now, I stopped doing mortgage appraisals probably a little after COVID. Now, I got lucky is before COVID, I met a hard money lender. And a hard money lender are the lenders that would invest for the small investors to go in and do a rehab property. So I was their number one appraiser for the South Side, West Side, and Southern and Western suburbs. And that's what I did for 5 years up until COVID. And that was the absolute best training I got because I had a chance to work with an investor before they bought the property. And so this is how that works. So let's say you and your wife were looking to buy a place and rehab it. The hard money lender give me a call, say, hey, Paul, I need you to go out and walk through the property before you buy. You and I walk through it together. And I ask you, say, hey, well, so what you thinking about doing? Paul, I'm going to blow out the kitchen, put a new bathroom in. We're going to finish the basement. We're going to put a rec room, bedroom, bath downstairs, and put a 2-car garage. I said, okay, great. I got it. So then my job would be to go in and pull the comps and find a place that reflects what your place is going to be when you finish. And then use those as your after repair value. And then at that point say, well, hey, if you do all this, they're selling for this right now. And then at that point, you work your numbers backwards and you say, well, hey, it's going to cost me this much to rehab it, this much to buy it. What's left is my entrepreneur profit. And so I did that for 5 years. And the cool thing is that I got a chance to be with the developers even before they bought the property, all the way through the process until when they found a realtor and they sold it. So it was an absolutely great tutorial in what it takes to do a successful rehab, from number one, picking the right one and doing a great budget and understanding what that as repaired market is going to be when you finish. And so that was great. And now I'm focusing on private appraisals. I do a lot of estate work. Let's say, for sake of argument, Big Mama just passed away, and now the children are the heirs of the estate. And you all want to see how much the place is worth, and you want to get some information on what you want to do with the place. Do we want to sell it? Do we want to sell it as is? Do we want to put a little money into it? I just did one nice 2-flat on the west side, and they were like, hey, we want to keep it in the family, and our sister's buying it. And so I was able to go in and meet with everybody and explain to them, hey, this is what the process is like. These are your options, so forth and so on. And so that's the nice part about it, is because I can take my time. I can talk to my clients, and my clients are the people who I'm actually sitting inside their dining rooms. And so that's what makes what I'm doing fun right now. And I also doing stuff with investors, guys and women who are looking to fix up a property, rehab it. They want to know, hey, Paul, what's the numbers now? What is this thing worth as it is? What is going to be worth when I finish with it? And I also do a few divorce appraisals. But I kind of have to
Yeah.
feel those out because I had an experience some years ago representing one side, and the other side thought that I was a friend of the other side, and there was collusion. And they were, oh man, it was a whole scene from Law and Order. So there you go.
Yeah. I was that was you beat me to my next question because I was going to ask what was your most challenging appraisal and how did you handle it? So that maybe that was it.
Well,
And so do you offer those services?
Yeah.
Like that, like a la carte type of service like that?
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
Now the most challenging appraisal I had was, I would say, man, probably about 20 years ago. And I was working for an established appraiser in our community, Ed Lang on 79th Street. And Ed was doing work, I think, for Seaway Bank at the time. And one of Seaway's clients had a mini mansion on Garfield Boulevard back in the day. This place was absolutely gorgeous. And Ed sent me down there to do that appraisal. I was over there for an hour and a half. I think I've been appraising like maybe 6 or 7 years. And the owner is extremely knowledgeable. And when I did my inspection and came back to the office, he said, "Well, hey, he's just going to do a refi for it, for the bank." And I'm like, "Well, Ed, there's nothing over there like it." The cost to replace all his windows was what the average value of the homes were down there in Inglewood 18 years ago. And so I said, how do I do this? And so, it let me try to figure it out. And then the most important thing an appraiser can have is a way of thinking about a problem. And he said, and he broke it down. He said, well, you have to go to a place, you have to find a place in Chicago where you have other homes that meet that design. Now, once you find that, what's the difference between the two, Paul? The difference is where they are at. Great. So how then do you figure out the difference in location? And how do you put a value on where this place is compared to the other neighborhood? And you have to figure out how you have to figure that out and how you can explain it. That's the key. How you can explain it. So, well, the answer to that was you go into the county database and you look at how properties are taxed. And as properties are taxed, you can then, as the appraiser, find out the difference in land value. And you can take a percentage of that and say, if everything else is equal, the land over here is worth this much more than over there. And you could take a percentage and you can make an adjustment on location from the data that you get from the county database. So it's a process, but unless you got that and somebody leads you there, then it can be rough out here. But if you can appraise in Chicago well, you can appraise anywhere.
Wow. Yeah. Man, and so I was going to ask you what sets you apart from other appraisers out here, but it's obvious your experience and your knowledge base. I mean, I won't even disrespect you by asking you that. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you've done over $500 million dollars in appraisals over the 30 years that you've been at this.
Absolutely. For one summer. This is okay. I'm gonna tell you two quick stories. Back in the times right after the, do you remember probably maybe about 10, 12 years ago, they had all of that scam mortgages down in Inglewood,
Oh
West
yeah.
Inglewood, New City, where they were getting
Oh yeah.
$300,000 loans for frame two flats.
Yep.
And
Yep. Absolutely.
yeah, okay, right. And so I got the order from the appraisal management company that I was working for, and the client just happened to be Fannie Mae at the time. And Fannie Mae ordered what was called forensic appraisals. So I got the appraisals from these scam appraisals and loans that
Mm.
they were getting this $300,000 from. And my job was to go and review that appraisal, go out and do an on-site inspection of the property and report back to the government, Fannie Mae, what I found. And because those properties were vacant at the time, you can tell they hadn't been rehabbed. And so when I went through the comps that they use, I was able to see the pattern and see how it came through maybe one or two realtors, and how the selling office was never a member of the MLS,
Mm.
and all of these things were listed within, let's say, a couple months of each other, and they all had the same list price, and they all had the same sales price. So it was. I found out how the scam was working. So when I sent my report in, and I got a call one afternoon, and it was actually a representative from HUD. And they said, Paul, I just want to let you know that we spent the last week and a half in Chicago, and we drove through Inglewood, and we had a chance to understand that true problem. And we took your forensic appraisals and based our recommendations on that. And that is how some of the people who actually got caught, how the government was able to base their case to kind of bring them to justice. So I did that for a couple of seasons. So, doing work in the hood, and then 2 years later, I get for a whole summer, I started doing appraisals for Chase Bank. Chase Bank was the client for the AMC. What Chase was doing, they were eliminating their what is their like second mortgage division, their line of credit division. And so my job was to do appraisals on properties that were already in their portfolio downtown. And these were the 1.2, 1.5, 1.6, $800,000 condos up in the sky.
Mm.
I did that for a full summer. So needless to say,
Wow.
it was definitely a change of pace, walking through a
In
spot
that
over
neighborhood.
on 54th and Laughlin, okay,
Yeah.
with
Right.
no
Right.
windows, and the grass haven't been cut, till I'm speaking to the doorman and say, hey, do you have a place I can park my car for about 15, 20 minutes? I just need to run upstairs and do an appraisal on the 45th floor. Yeah. And you get out the elevator, and there's two condos per floor. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's gotta be
Oh
amazing.
yeah. Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
talk
So
about
Right, look, let me go there and with you next time.
talk about a spectrum.
oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a
Oh
different.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. But the thing is that the concept is the same. The concept is the
Mhm.
Yeah.
same. It's just being able to know how to make your adjustments in the market that you're at, because it's all a percentage of what the market is, and understanding what is important from one market to the next. And the example I give is off-street parking. Where we live at, yeah, if you got a garage or a parking slab in the back, yeah, it might be worth this dollar here because it's not as congested in our residential neighborhood. But if you
Mhm.
live 3 blocks away from Wrigley Field and you don't have a garage or a parking slab or off-street park compared to a place
Mhm.
next door that has one, the value of that
Mhm.
Mhm.
off-street parking is going to be significantly higher than you
Yeah.
have in a neighborhood that's just 2 minutes away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
For
yeah.
sure.
So I might be doing an appraisal about Wrigley Field, and somebody's got a 2-car garage compared to somebody else who doesn't. That 2-car garage might have a value of $50,000.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. With the
Yeah,
congestion
so
overhead,
If
parking.
it's gold.
so it's just understanding the neighborhood in which you're at and how to value those amenities for each particular piece of property. And because Chicago is so diverse,
Yeah.
once you kind of understand the process. Oh, and one other thing while I'm thinking about it, the mortgage industry gave us great direction about I think about 7, 8 years ago. They told us as
Mhm.
appraisers that we did not need an apple to an apple. So let's
Mhm.
say you got a brick bungalow over here on let's say 82nd and let's say King Drive, and I come out to
Right.
appraise it. Before, we needed to have two brick bungalows as far as the comparables. The lenders gave us advisement, said, no. What we
You
are
don't need that.
more worried about is the location. We want you
Mhm.
to find homes that are located in the neighborhood and put your main focus on location. And so what that did is said, well, hey, if you got a 3-bedroom brick bungalow, and you got a comp of a 3-bedroom Georgian or a 3-bedroom ranch or a 3-bedroom Cape Cod, and they're all 3 blocks away, hey, those are your best comps because
Mhm.
they all have the same bedroom count around the same size. But what it does is it gives us, the lender, the true picture of what the neighborhood value is for that particular property. And so it stopped appraisers from going way out of the area trying to find another bungalow when it could be the only one, very few in the area. But I got Cape Cods and ranches everywhere.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
That's
so
true.
yeah.
yeah, and so they gave us that directive and said, hey, use a bungalow, use a Cape Cod, use a Georgian, and it's your job to make an adjustment and just make an adjustment on square footage and all the amenities and explain it to us and keep it moving. So
Wow, yeah.
So when they look at location, do they look at like grocery store area, like things that's in the area that brings value to the neighborhood, or is it just merely on the housing?
yeah, for appraisal purposes, it is on what the closed sales are because
Okay,
as an appraiser, what I look at is what has closed.
got it.
Not what people got listed on
Hmm.
on the MLS that hasn't closed yet. Because you
Right.
can ask and you can ask anything you want for a piece of property, anything.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but and we all know sellers, out here that own mushrooms, smoking crack. They probably
And
is
then they
worth
probably
it's the Taj Mahal. You go over there. Well, why is it like this? Yeah, because my closets are bigger. Your closets are bigger. Yeah, and so because of that, I know my place is worth $20,000 more. Well, how you know that? Because I talked to my
Mhm.
neighbor down the street. What your neighbor's lying to you
Mhm.
because
mm,
people,
Yep, I was gonna
yeah,
say it.
people always lie about real estate. They tell you, yeah, I sold my house for $300,000. Yeah, yeah. And then you look on the MLS, it's 275.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Not that
yeah,
I've done
stop it.
that, but
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, stop it. So,
Mhm.
so what an appraiser does is we go into MLS and we look for closed sales, and we want to find properties that are in the neighborhood similar to that, and then our job is to make adjustments on the differences. Now, in a um, in a fast moving market, we can pull a lot of information from the MLS sheets. And one of the most important is number one, the days on market, and also the difference between what a property lists for and what the contract price is. So if I'm
mhm.
seeing list price is 320, 325, and contract and sales prices at 330, 332, 335, above asking, and I see that the market time is less than 2 weeks, I know they have multiple offers on the place. And and I know the market's tight, even if I didn't have realtor friends. I know that by the fact that the educated buyer right now says that with all the information that I have and working with a seasoned real estate professional, I'm going to offer more than the list price because this is what I feel that the market value for this house is. And the true determination of market value is the agreement that a buyer and a seller makes. So that's ultimately the determination of value, what someone's willing to pay for it.
Right. Okay.
This is awesome, awesome information. I feel like a student sitting here.
Right.
And speaking of that, do you do? I'm telling you, I got a page full of notes here. Do you do any like mentorship type things right now, or any like educational, like teaching as
Yeah.
far as appraisal?
Well, the short answer is yes. As you can tell, I got no problem bumping my gums.
Yeah,
But because the appraisal industry is such a solitary job, we are
Okay.
yeah, we are like, the tooth fairy. People know we exist. We come by
yeah,
late at night. We leave a little something under the pillow, and
yeah,
and then we get out of there.
yeah.
But as I have gotten older and have peeled back from the mortgage stuff and started doing the private stuff inside the community, yeah, I've focused on talking at home buyers seminars and especially my realtor friends, and just also talking to people who are getting into real estate, just for the first time, because or even if you've been in the business for a while, what you find is people who know stuff. It's hard to get information out of them just to tell you what's coming next, or just to tell you, hey,
Mhm,
you know what, you really need to go over here,
mhm,
or what's most important, dude, you don't need to do that.
mhm,
Okay, what you really need to
mhm.
do is cut your uncle loose and get you a contractor that's licensed and bonded so you can go pull your building permits.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Say
yeah,
it again.
because because if the building department show up and see all those garbage bags out back, and they peek in the
Mhm.
door and see drywall laying on the floor, and you don't have that sticker in your window, yeah, they're gonna put the big yellow sticker on the front,
Yep.
and
Right on
and they
there.
and
Yep.
they don't
Tell them
have
again.
no sense of humor about that.
Yeah. Tell them again. Tell them we've been. That's the topic that we've been touching
Oh
on,
yeah,
and obviously with the renovation room coming from the contractor's
oh yeah,
perspective, and I tell people, I say, look, the city of especially as you know, with the new
oh
building
yeah,
codes that went into effect
absolutely,
around 2020 and now they're full effect.
oh yeah.
I tell people time and time again, do it the right way because
They're
it's
not
the
playing.
city of Chicago is absolutely not playing any games right now.
Yeah, no. They absolutely have no sense of humor about it, and you know when that changed. That changed when all those folks up at Wrigley Field fell off that porch.
Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, definitely,
When
absolutely.
that when
Yeah,
when that porch gave way up
yeah,
in Wrigley Field and pulled away from that house, and
Yeah.
and and,
yeah.
and all those people fell to 2.5 stories.
Hmm.
No. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. After that, it was a total change inside the mindset, and no more, no more sense of humor about that.
Oh man. Well, yeah, we appreciate your time. I don't want to hold you too long, brother. But you're welcome to talk as much as you want.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to ask is you want to let everybody know because what we'll do is, and we welcome you again. Thank you for being a part of the
Oh,
renovation room
hey,
community.
it's been an absolute pleasure, my brother, as I say, bumping my gums.
Yes,
And
sir.
so to all of the people inside the renovation room, just I would say, just keep a brother in mind
Yes.
if you if you just want to know what your place is worth, something you're inheriting, you're looking to buy a piece of property, or you kind of want to know what's going on inside just inside your neighborhood. What why neighborhoods change? How come our values are going up so much? I do appraisals, but I also do consulting work. So let's say, for sake of argument, you don't need a full appraisal.
Mm-hmm.
You need someone to talk to you and to come out and walk through your place to say, hey, tell me what you think, Paul. I don't need all this, but I got these few questions. Can you come through and see what I got and kind of steer me inside the right direction? Yeah, absolutely. Or let's say you're doing a rehab project and you want to find out, hey, I kind of need to know if the numbers that I've been quoted are right, and how do I know what the realtor is telling me that my after repair value is going to be, and how do I match that up with what my scope of work I'm getting from my contractor? Do these numbers work? Yeah, that's kind of when you need someone like me who comes in, who doesn't have a vested interest, to say, okay, well, it's going to be this number on the back end. It's going to be this number to rehab it. And how much you want to make? Okay, well, if you want this as your entrepreneurial profit, then you can't pay no more than this to buy the property. Because if you pay more than that and it don't sell for no more, guess what's going to go down? Your entrepreneurial profit. And
Yeah,
because
you're right.
you can't raise the price if you spend your money wrong, and then you go over budget, you can't add that on to the back of the price.
Right.
Yeah.
No, 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 no.
Yeah.
I mean, you look, everybody else's rehab looks just like your selling for $325,000, and you went 30,000 over budget, and you gonna list yours for 355. Yeah.
Not
Okay.
gonna work.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. 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 Good luck with that.
Well, that is an awesome service, brother. Seriously, because we have a number of younger people looking to get into investing,
Yeah.
and a lot of young property
Hmm.
owners. And so that one of our missions is to kind of help and assist. It's definitely from the contractor side, but professionals like you that will offer a service like that I didn't even realize that you actually offered that. So I'll definitely, as you let everybody know the best way to get in contact with you and what you got going on, we'll definitely be sharing more of the information on that, because we get a lot of younger, or no, not necessarily younger, but
Hmm.
newer investors and
Yep.
homeowners that want to know those things, the true values, the true numbers.
Absolutely.
That will help out a lot of people, because I've seen a number of horror stories over the
Oh
years where people
man.
underestimate the rehab costs, and they get into a
Oh.
project and
Oh
they're
yeah.
stuck.
Oh
Yeah, I've
yeah.
seen it
Oh
too
yeah.
many
Oh yeah.
times.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Because it's a process,
mhm,
and there are certain things that slow down the process,
yeah,
and you have to, as you know, you got to schedule different things at different times to keep the
mhm,
project moving.
yes,
Because
sir.
if you don't order this in the front, because this takes 3 weeks to a month to happen, then
Yeah,
guess
yeah,
what?
yeah.
Your project don't move. And
That's
and
right.
and
That's right.
especially if you got rehab money, that ain't cheap money.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Interest.
Yeah, yeah. So so
Well,
so
shoot.
so so so, so hey, yeah, my 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 cell phone, my email address is the absolute best way to get in touch with me. So if you allow me, if you want, I can give that out right now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Cool,
please
cool.
do. Yeah,
Well,
and we'll
yeah.
list it also.
Okay. Well,
We'll list it like with this video. Yep.
okay, great.
Go ahead.
Well, I live in South Shore. I've been over here since 2003. Been in Chicago. Grew up in Chicago. Graduated from Lynn Bloom. Swoop swoop. And so my number is 773-517-6372. That's 773-517-6372. Don't hesitate to call if you got some questions. Say, hey, Paul, I'm thinking about, yeah, as you can tell, I got no problem talking. And my email address is P as in Paul, V as in Victory, Gibson, Gibson at Ameritech, AMERITECH.net.
Gotcha.
All right.
Man, well, we appreciate you, brother. We definitely will be publicizing your contact methods, and this latest service you spoke about. I think it'll be huge because we get a lot of people behind the scenes
Yep.
looking for consultants that do what you do, and they'll see this video because we're gonna load it on
Okay,
YouTube,
cool.
so it'll live forever.
Hmm.
And a lot of they reach out and they want to know. Some people don't like asking questions in front of everybody,
Oh, yeah.
so
Yeah.
they'll
Oh, for
message
sure.
us behind
Yeah.
the scenes like,
Yeah.
we need help with this and this value, and is there anyone? Now we have with your
Hmm.
experience over 30 years, we definitely will be sharing your information with all of these people that reach out
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
more. So
You know,
we
you know what?
appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And just to close out on that, what I found is that what my true purpose is in that environment is to help the particular investor understand and process the
Mhm.
information that they're getting, to be
Mhm.
able to
Mhm.
make an educated decision on the information that's coming in, and to know when you don't have enough information to make that decision, and to know when you need to ask that next question, or to have someone look at it and say, hey, did you ask them how long it's going to be before they have a chance to come over? And if it is there an extra cost if that happens, and this and that, and how that's going to slow up everything? Is there a penalty for this, or do you have to pay for that? Yeah, yeah. Because someone to tell you,
Right.
to explain what you don't know, because you don't know what you don't know, and because in this
Mhm.
thing, time is money. Yeah, it can get real ugly real quick. So
Well, brother
yeah.
Paul Gibson, it's been a pleasure to have you on. I've learned a
All right.
ton, brother. You got to
Right.
send me a bill, send us a bill,
Oh man,
and
hey, like I tell people when I come out and appraise the house, I say, don't worry about it. I know where you live at.
that's it. That's it. Well, man, we thank you.
All right
We'll
now.
be sharing we'll be sharing your information, man. We appreciate you, and please don't hesitate to ever let us know when we can be of any assistance with
Sounds
anything for sure.
like a plan.
Yes, sir. All right,
All
take
right,
care,
y'all.
brother. Thank you.
Appreciate it much.
Bye.
All right. Bye
All
bye
right,
now.
thank y'all.
Bye bye.
All right, bye bye.